Welcome to the Correcting Comma Splices presentation for Ms. Montgomery's ENF 2 classes at Blue Ridge Community College. I will review what comma splices are, demonstrate 3 common ways of correcting them, and offer some additional practical editing examples. Remember that every sentence needs a subject or noun doing the action, and a verb or action word. Just like shoes and dice and many other things need to be in pairs to do their work, so do these sentence elements. You can have a sentence made up entirely of the subject-verb pair, or independent clause, like I sing on this slide, where I is the subject and sing is the verb. Most sentences and most independent clauses, though, will contain more information, as in the second sentence. We is the subject and attend is the verb, but there is more. School is the object receiving the action of the verb, and in Virginia is a prepositional phrase telling you where the action happens. The 2 sentences on the previous slide have largely nothing to do with one another, but many times when we are writing, we will have pairs of sentences that connect very closely. Sentence combining allows us to take advantage of this fact and use grammar and structure to point our readers to connections between our ideas. The second sentence in a pair might provide explanation or clarification about what has already been stated, or there might be a particular relationship between the ideas in the 2 sentences, like cause and effect or comparison and contrast. All 3 of these sample sentences might have cause and effect relationships, or they might have explanation relationships. As you've seen, the commas alone are not strong enough to combine these sentences into new compound sentences, but there are good reasons to combine them, so now we'll look at ways to do that correctly. Here are the 3 most common ways to edit away comma splices. With a semicolon, you don't need to change or add any words. You just use a semicolon, not a comma, to join 2 sentences into one compound sentence. The relationship between these 2 sentences is fairly obvious from their content. The second option, separating back into 2 sentences, has the same advantage of not changing or adding any words and leaving the content to show the relationship between ideas. You put a period at the end of the first sentence, then capitalize the first word of the next sentence. In the third example, adding a conjunction, you leave the comma in place but also add a coordinating conjunction. The advantage of using coordinating conjunctions, though it requires adding a word to a sentence, is that in choosing a conjunction, you choose to emphasize a certain relationship between your sentences, as well as combining them structurally. There are examples of this concept on the next slide. Fanboys doesn't mean fans of a particular thing the way it does in internet message boards. It is a rather silly acronym based on the first letters of the 7 most common coordinating conjunctions: for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Notice that all do the same thing structurally when following a comma in the middle of a compound sentence, but they don't all mean the same thing. You don't want to choose randomly from this list when combining sentences. Think about the relationship between your ideas. Is it cause and effect, opposition, or something else? Then choose appropriately. Here are 5 attempts at combining related sentences that ended up as comma splices. Work on corrections for these sentences. Use at least 1 semicolon, at least 1 comma with conjunction, and at least 1 split into 2 separate sentences. All are possible for all 5 sentences. We'll discuss the different choices you make and how they create different shades of meaning in the sentences. Try pausing the video and taking several minutes to do this before you go to the last slide, which has some of the possible solutions. Here you see some possible answers for ways to combine the sentences with semicolons, ways to combine the sentences with commas and conjunctions, and ways to remove the comma splices by making 2 separate sentences. More than one option is possible for each sentence, and many more options beyond these are also possible, as we'll see in the next few units. As you complete your corrections before next class, make sure that they are technically correct in terms of one of the three strategies here, but also think about what the choices you make do to add emphasis to the meaning of the sentences. Thank you for your attention, and I'll see you in class.